Depression affects many of us around the globe. According to World Health Organization, 300 million people of all the ages battle with it. Depression is a sneaky mental disorder. It's difficult to catch during the early stages. Most of us realize we have depression when we are deep in the grips of it. Those with this mental disorder feel hopeless, empty or sad, fatigued, irritable and restless. Depression not only takes your motivation away, but you can have problems concentrating and making decisions. Those of us with this disorder can act in ways that will worsen the situation. Here's a list of 10 things depression makes you do. 1. Isolate yourself. Individuals with depression isolate themselves for different reasons. Some will keep to themselves because they feel overwhelmed socializing, and others believe it's better to be alone. In other cases, the person may feel so much self-hatred that they prefer to not interact with people. Those with severe depression may even stay in their house for weeks. 2. Being disorganized. Depression leaves you feeling exhausted, so cleaning a room or home becomes an endeavor. Dirty dishes and clothes start piling up while your garbage is overflowing with trash. It becomes an even bigger physical challenge to walk around your room because everything is on the floor. Living in a cluttered place leaves you feeling uneasy, but the lack of energy doesn't help. 3. Poor hygiene. Depression zaps all your energy. It's difficult enough to get out of bed, so showering, brushing your teeth, washing your hair, and taking care of your body, it goes out of the window. Those without depression may see this behavior as lazy, but the truth is, showering or changing into clean clothes is exhausting and painful at times. 4. Struggling with sleep. Depression affects your sleeping schedule. Some of you may stay up and sleep very little. It keeps you up with your intrusive, unwanted thoughts. These may end up making you feel anxious all through the night. In other cases, some of you will sleep excessively and still feel unrested. 5. Catastrophizing every situation. Depression plays tricks on your mind, making you believe negative things. It can get to a point where you are constantly looking out for bad things to reassure your pessimistic thinking. Every time something bad happens, you use it as an evidence to prove how bad life is. This slippery slope makes it difficult to see life under a brighter light. 6. Terrible eating habits. Those with depression will either eat too much or hardly anything at all. Some of you may find yourself in the kitchen eating everything in the sight, trying to eat away the emptiness or sadness you are feeling, while others don't have an appetite and may even feel disgusted by food. In other cases, some of you may feel so exhausted that the thought of preparing a meal is overwhelming. 7. Lack of motivation. Depression steals your interests and desires right from under you. Your favorite pastimes and hobbies no longer satisfy you. Slowly you find yourself feeling dead and numb inside. If you aren't careful, you'll end up staying in bed all day. 8. Evading your problems. Depression by itself is overwhelming. You can feel devastated and out of control most days, so trying to face situations and problems head on is difficult enough. Instead, you ignore or set the problem aside, and this in turn can bring trouble because it will continue to pile up. 9. Feeling guilty and feeling self-hatred. If you allow depression to take over your thoughts, then you will most likely feel self-hatred. You will continue to talk down to yourself, and this often leads to development of self-esteem issues along with poor self-image. Eventually, you will believe you aren't worth it anymore. Some people with this mental disorder can even feel guilty by thinking all the problems are their fault. 10. Living in fear. People with depression fear that terrible things will happen to them. In severe cases, some of you will sabotage a good situation, believing that it will turn bad. Other times, individuals will reject opportunities and stop pursuing their dreams. It is a twisted way to protect yourself because this prevents you from living and achieving amazing things. Depression affects us in different ways. Everyone has some idea of what their ideal life looks like, whether it means affording to travel freely, coming home to a loving family, or having all the cats and dogs in the world. But things are getting harder by the second. It can be nearly impossible just getting out of the bed in the morning. Why is it so much easier giving in to negativity than it is to get out of it? Depression doesn't just weigh down our shoulders. It lies, often telling us that we are not in control of our lives, but we are. Whatever you are going through, know it's not always going to be like this. Here are 8 tips for dealing with suicidal thoughts. 1. Don't spend the night alone. When you are suicidal, it will be tempting to isolate yourself. Do you lock yourself in your room, shut the blinds, and hide underneath your covers? The thing about depression is that the darkness will welcome you, but this only makes you susceptible to believe your negative thoughts. Watch out for your safety and don't spend the night alone. Call up your family, friends, or loved ones. Tell them how you are feeling. If possible, sleeping over at their place is even better. Having company around can do wonders for you because it means keeping those bad thoughts at bay or allowing the new environment to boost your mind. 2. Cut off all ties with toxic people. Research shows that keeping toxic people in your life isn't just stressful, it can actually kill you. One study showed that subjects in negative relationships had a higher risk of developing cardiac problems. If someone is abusing you, physically or emotionally, please call the police for help. Your life might drastically change if your family members or partner are the toxic ones, but realize that they are putting you in more pain than they are supporting you. 3. Make a list of your accomplishments. Hey you, look at how far you have come. Failure can seem like a big slap in the face, but we often obsess over perfection instead of focusing on what we have achieved. There's a difference. Striving for perfection doesn't allow you to be human. Embrace your flaws, failures, and downfalls as much as you appreciate all the milestones you have reached. Listen closely to what isn't working, turn those into lessons, and grow resilient. 4. Practice positive mantras. These are otherwise known as coping statements. Ending your life will seem like the only option to end your misery, but nothing lasts forever. Practice saying some of these. I will get through this. This is my depression talking, not me. I don't really want to die. I just want the pain to end. Stick these to your mirror, fridge, and carry them wherever you go. Let them be friendly reminders to be kind to yourself. You got this. 5. Find a therapist. Most people shrug this idea off because they may not be able to afford it. But there are options, especially if you are a student. An open mind is what will ultimately get you help. Call your friends for any insights they might have. It never hurts to ask your family doctor too. Networks exist for a reason, and the more professional advice you receive, the faster you can find and work with a professional. 6. If it's urgent, please call the police. This won't necessarily stop you from your suicidal thoughts, but they will stop you from going through with the act. From here on out, they can take you to the ER where you will be safe. We hope you never have to resort to this, but want to remind you that help is only one call away. 7. Find out what's hurting you and make changes to it. Do you feel stuck at your dead-end job? Tired of the city you are living in? Or not sure about what you're studying in school? It's okay to address that you are feeling unhappy, but don't succumb to helplessness. It may take time to find what works for you, but this is why practicing patience is so pivotal. Big projects seem intimidating, but break them up into smaller tasks to make them more approachable. Remember, as you wait for your miracle, never stop working on yourself in the meantime. 8. Whatever you do, please don't lose hope. I know it's easier said than done, but committing suicide will end everything, including the amazing days ahead that you won't be alive for. People usually realize too late while they are in the middle of the act that every problem they ever faced could have been fixed. So please reconsider your health. You deserve so much more. Have you ever had someone who just wanted to end it all? Permanently? It's never too easy to think about it. Yes, life can get so complicated and overwhelming. It's hard to even imagine that things would ever get better again. But most people bounce back. Unfortunately, some don't. Suicide is a tragedy that affects everyone. It's one of the leading causes of death for people aged 24 or younger. Here's what to do. If you suspect your friend might be having thoughts of suicide. Tip 1. Learn to recognize dangerous signs. Has your friend talked about feeling hopeless or anxious? Have you noticed a change in your friend's behavior, like acting withdrawn, sleeping less, sleeping a lot more, or they may be abusing alcohol or drugs, or giving away their belongings? Maybe your friend has even talked about hurting themselves or worse, wanting to die. Tip 2. Initiate a dialogue in a non-judgmental way. Sit your friend down in a comfortable or familiar environment where the two of you can talk privately or freely. Start by telling your friend how much you care about them. but how some of their behaviors have concerned you. Make a worksheet as how this conversation flows. If you determine that your friend is in danger and they need help, call help immediately. Household items like pills, razor blades quickly become lethal weapons in the hands of a suicidal person. Tip 3. React with feeling. If your friend does confide that he wants to commit suicide, be compassionate and make it known that you are there to listen. Don't aim to change their mind, start an argument, or give an advice. Many people who attempt suicide do not actually want to die. They just want the suffering to end, and suicide seems like the only avenue. Engage in conversation with your friend and find out what's hurting them. Tip 4. Shift the focus from sources of pain to resources for treatment. In addition to the external challenges, your friend might also be fighting with internal demons that require professional care. Depression, anxiety, and other mood disorders are often reasons for suicidal thoughts. Many of these illnesses can be diagnosed and treated. Encourage your friend to seek help and offer to work with them to locate a medical health professional or clinic. We strongly recommend looping their family members into this process. Tip 5. Lastly, stay connected. Even after your friend has sought help and seems to be on the path to healing, encourage other friends, roommates, or family members to check in on your friend during this vulnerable time. This is an especially important step since many suicides occur in the period of initial improvement. You can save a life just by reaching out to someone who's in need. You can always reach us out at Department of Psychiatry, SVRI GGH, Tirupati.